Hello, good evening. Welcome to episode 361 of the Total Saints podcast, your home for all things Southampton Football Club. Brought to you by our TSP Patreon community, and we couldn't make the show each week without your incredible support. So coming up this week on the pod, it was another one of those frustrating afternoons full of missed chances and self-destruction as we drop points at home to Charlton. We'll pick over the bones of the 1-1 draw. And we go again on Tuesday night at St Mary's with the visit of Queen's Park Rangers. So we'll look ahead to that game for you. My name is Martin Stark, and joining me this week, Steve Grant is the owner of Saints Web. Glenn Delacour is writer of the blog League 1-10. And Alfie House is senior Southampton reporter at the Daily Echo. Good evening, chaps. It was points shared, but we dropped a place to 11th in the table after the 1-1 draw at Charlton. Once again, Glenn, it kind of felt like we've only got ourselves to blame for that result yesterday.
I mean, the first half, it was like a training game, wasn't it? The first half was Charlton basically played 5-4-1. Lyndon Dykes up front on his own. I don't think he touched the ball more than a couple of times. It was all Saints. It's just a case of whether we could score or not. We had the early volley from Cienza. That was, it was a good cross, good volley, really good clearance off the line, having beaten the goalkeeper. Few other chances in the second half. Few other chances in the first half, and we really needed to make one of them pay against very limited opponents. Let's face it, they had zero ambition in that first half. You have to say fair play to Nathan Jones, horrible little oik that he is, because he learned. Well, no, to be fair to him, he learned the lessons of the last game against us, and he didn't allow us the space to break on them, and he got to half time at 0-0, which is what he would have wanted. Second half, we obviously came out with the message to play a little bit quicker, actually put crosses into the box, because we turned down. It's almost like sometimes we're not used to having a target man in the middle. We turn down crossing positions on occasions. It does my head in. So start the second half, we put a cross in the box, and it's the same as the goal against Leicester, where Cienza switches it onto his right foot, gets it in quickly. Stewart's made the movement. It's a brilliant header. To put us 1-0 up, and you think at this stage, well, all you got to do is manage the game. Charlton have shown nothing whatsoever up till that point. I might be alone on this, but I feel that Tonda's preconceived substitution, we're taking off Shea Charles for Caspiander, which he was going to do regardless of the game situation, regardless of the score, regardless of how the game was playing out. He was going to do that once the ball went out of play after 60 minutes. He did it, and within 2 minutes, the game had completely changed. Caspiander's man scores. Now, I'm not really blaming Caspiander for this, because he just shouldn't have been there. He just shouldn't have been on at that time. If you change the defence or the midfield, unless, if you have to, then fine. But I also feel that if he had to take Shea Charles off, which I don't think he did, then it should have been Cameron Bragg who came on, for the simple reason that he played well in his last game in the FA Cup, and Caspiander dropped a 0 out of 10 performance against Leicester, so he's just not at his sharpest at the moment. There was then sort of 10 minutes where the game was fairly even, chances, sort of scrambles at both ends, really didn't really happen. And then, with us needing another goal, there was another set of substitutions where he basically took off the entire forward line. And that didn't really seem to help either. You accept that Ross Stewart has to come off, but I think taking off Cienza and Fellows was a mistake. The one who should have come off was probably Azaz. Because I think what we've learned about Finn Azaz from now is that he either has a good game or a bad game. Yeah, and if he's having a bad game and he's not done much by the sort of 65th, 70th minute, I think it's safe to assume that he's not going to do anything. And he probably should have been the one that came off, and Matsuki gone in that position. But was what it was. We had a few decent efforts in the last sort of 10 minutes, but without really testing the keeper. We put a load of crosses in, and it's disappointing because. They're the sort of games that you need to win. Usually you can accept that there are some games that you can't win every game, obviously. There are going to be some games that you don't win and you get a disappointing result. And every team that's ever achieved anything in the season has had games like this. But we've got ourselves, behind in terms of the whole season. So we can't afford too many more of these if we want to achieve anything. And it certainly puts pressure on the next 2 games where really nothing less than 6 points will do. So yeah, disappointing, but yeah, it is what it is. Let's move on to the next game and win against QPR on Tuesday, is it? And most people will have forgotten about this game.
It's going to be a big week, that's for sure. We're back to talking about missed chances again, though, Alfie, aren't we? Looking at possession and shots and corners, and Charlton obviously came for the point, and that's what they got.
Yeah, it was obviously domination in terms of the statistics and things like that. I mean, Glenn's already summed it up perfectly, I think. But the big one was Finn Downes. The ball sort of popped up to him in the middle of the box just at the end of the first half, and he put it into Rose Ed. Really a shocking effort. That was a big chance for him. Obviously, Ryan Manning hit the crossbar as well. I think towards the end of the first half, right at the end of time, there was a decent effort for Matsky, in added time, but he sort of slipped as he hit it. And you also mentioned Kasper Jander's sort of role in the goal. I feel for Daniel Peretz a little bit because it comes through a crowd of people, and Yander sort of he sees the ball go to the right, and he doubles up on somebody, and he completely leaves Sonny Carey free, and then he's got a free shot on the edge of the area, few or three bodies, and then Peretz, maybe could he do better? He pushes it into the corner of the goal. Obviously, maybe he could do better. He'll be disappointed with it, but it feels like little moments, right? You have these games against these teams. We had them in the last championship season. I didn't leave the ground feeling particularly deflated or feeling like it was the end of the world, because you're not going to win every game. Even in that 25-game unbeaten run, I think they won 4 league matches in a row at most. You are going to drop the odd point here and there. But Glenn makes a good point that we've not given ourselves enough headroom to do that. And you look at the teams above us, I think 3rd place, 4th place, 5th place, maybe even 7th and 8th place, all lost. And Wrexham were the only team to actually win, and they end up going, obviously third at the table. So it was a massive opportunity to push up the table in a game which you'd expect to win. But they didn't take it. So it swings around about. So the good thing is that we've not lost ground on anybody, but ultimately it was a big chance. Nathan Jones, fair play to him. He almost got through a press conference without having a little dig.
Should we do that now? Let's get that out of the way now, shall we?
Well, it was very funny. I mean, I was offering
Is it you personally? Is it you and Adam Blackmore? Because you've never been friends.
Adam Blackmore wasn't there, obviously. It's only the press journalist. But I offered him an olive branch because Glenn made the point that Nathan Jones spoke during the week about how he'd obviously learnt structurally from that game in November. And we said on the podcast that he was never going to come to St Mary's and go high press, all guns blazing, try to win the ball back constantly. He set them up perfectly to disrupt Saints. It was 10 men behind the ball at all times, or 9 men behind the ball. Lots of sort of fouls, lots of aggressive tackles, and by the end of the game, a lot of time wasting as well. A lot of players going down for injuries and really milking it, which is fair enough. But I sort of said, were you pleased with the performance and having learnt from that game? And he said, well, tactically, we've always been really good. We've shown that we were good tactically here. When was the last time you beat Man City? When was the last time this club beat Man City? Kept the clean sheet against Man City. Got to a cup semi-final, and I thought, yeah, fair enough.
I'm not being funny, but maybe if that prick hadn't set us up for relegation, we'd have had a couple of other opportunities to beat Man City.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on Nathan Jones. I think at the end of the day, he managed 8 games of a 38-game season. So he wasn't
3 points from 24. It's like, well done, mate.
He was not the reason you relegated that season. There were bigger problems that season. But yeah, it was funny. I did enjoy that. But
He's still the gift that keeps on giving. I did like the stat that's the first point that he's got at St Mary's. Yeah, despite being in charge for 3 months. A few positives, Steve. Let's talk about Ross Stewart scoring his 5th goal of the season from that Cienza cross. It was a decent header. I've watched it 3 or 4 times today, and I think every time I see it, it just looks like an even better header.
It's a great header because Cienza's cross doesn't have an awful lot of pace on it, so he's not got a huge amount to work with. And he's kind of almost going away from goal, so he's got to generate a little bit of power himself, and he kind of cranes his neck a little bit, and obviously gets the header sort of right on the pointy bit on the corner of his head to kind of generate a bit of extra pace that takes it over the keeper and out of his reach. It's a brilliant header. That does kind of let's temper the fact that Stewart has now got 5 goals. He's now level with Ryan Manning this season for league goals. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're now kind of reaping a vague benefit of having someone who can play that proper role who you can put crosses into. Him and Carl Larin have already proven over the last 2 or 3 weeks that you put the ball in the right area and they will both bust a gut to get on the end of it. And yeah, there's certainly rewards to be reaped there if you can do it often enough. And that was probably, as Glenn mentioned earlier, that was probably the main criticism of yesterday, really, that we got into a lot of wide positions and yet the ball didn't come in. You're not aiming at Adam Armstrong now. You're aiming at a guy who's 6'3" and who wins stuff. So yeah, that was a little bit frustrating. Tom Fellows, I'm concerned by at the moment. He's just looks lost at the moment.
He got a lot of criticism yesterday, I thought, from fans,
shorn of confidence.
And Finn Azaz. Is that fair? Do you think?
You never know what's kind of going on in people's heads. But I mean, as I thought was okay in patches. Like he got the ball in tight areas and he dealt with it well in terms of still being able to find a teammate and keep the ball and keep things moving. What was frustrating, I thought, actually, was that Azaz made a lot of really good runs from deep into channel areas, but the problem was that the people that were currently on the ball aren't players that you really associate with having that sort of vision and being able to kind of pick players out of their sort of periphery and stuff. Quite a few times when the ball was with Shea Charles, and Azaz had made a great run in between fullback and centre back, and he was in a lot of space out on that side because the fullback had been dragged across to deal with Fellows. But the ball never came. The ball ended up getting recycled back to the other side. We're obviously still very keen to get the ball into Cienza as much as possible, which is fine. He's our most creative player, so that's natural. But we've got enough good players elsewhere on the pitch in attacking areas that we can't be kind of one-dimensional. In particular, can't be seen to be one-dimensional because it does just make it a lot easier to defend against. I mean, I would kind of argue that in terms of what Nathan Jones said about being tactically well set up, I don't think they were. I mean, we on another afternoon, we go in at halftime 4-0 up.
Yeah.
And Charlton couldn't possibly have had any complaints. It wasn't as if we didn't open them up. It was the second half where we found it harder, where they basically somehow managed to drop another 10 yards deeper, pack the penalty area. So once they got back to 1-1, any ball into the box, there was nine defenders plus the goalkeeper there at minimum. And yeah, you're always then just hoping that the ball kind of falls kindly for you, and it just didn't. I mean, they threw bodies in the way. I think we had 11 shots blocked out of our 23 total shots. So that kind of shows that we were probably getting into decent positions for those shots. But at the end of the day, defenders individually are allowed to defend well. You can't have it all your own way all the time. So I do think nine times out of 10 you replay that game, we'd win comfortably.
And do you agree with Glenn about the substitutions and the changes? Because there's a lot of comment in the chats about that, like taking off Leo and Fellows at the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
those changes.
I mean, Cienza didn't look overly impressed to be taken off, which I mean, that's kind of what you want. You don't want players happy to be sitting on the sideline. Unless their job's done. If they've got us into a 3 or 4-0 lead, then you take your standing ovation with 20 minutes to go and have a bit of a rest and give someone else a run out. But when the game's still finely balanced and you are the key player, then yeah, I mean, again, we come back to this thing that we were talking about over Christmas, wasn't it? That Tonda Eckert seems to be playing the next game in his head rather than the one that's actually out on the pitch in front of him. So yeah, I think the substitutions, Stewart, yeah, I get, and Larin has shown that he can hold the fort in that position, so no particular problem. And actually, in fairness, Sam Adozie I thought was decent. I mean, his end product, there was actually some end product there from him this time. He was willing to go either side of the fullback, gave him a bit of a torrid time in that last 20 minutes or so. But I think the question is whether he was the guy, whether actually he should have been coming on the other side. Maybe keeping Cienza on the left and bringing Adozie on the right to go down the outside almost exclusively. whipping crosses in on his right foot, because we know Fellows is predominantly left-footed, so he wants to cut in more often than not. So why not have someone who's going to go on the outside all the time? Because then your midfield players who are theoretically busting a gut to get in the box, they're running onto the ball. It's like what we were doing a lot under Russell Martin, where Will Smallbone was that guy that just drifted into position, and the fullback or winger got round the back and pulls the ball back for someone coming onto it. And it's really difficult to defend against those sort of balls. And we don't really do that anymore. So yeah, maybe that's something to look at. But yeah, in general, I think the substitutions hindered us rather than helped us on this occasion. But you look at the players that came on, you wouldn't be particularly concerned if any of those started on Tuesday night. So why not keep the starting players out there for longer? I mean, maybe there was an argument with Downes that he was potentially going to get himself sent off, because we took him off straight after that little set to, didn't we, on the corner of the area?
Yeah.
So maybe that one was relatively wise. So maybe you take him and Stewart off, but leave the rest the same, at least until 80, 85 minutes. But then I guess the longer it goes 1-1, the longer people say, well, he's left it too late. Why have you left it so late to make changes? So I mean, there are times where the manager can't win. At the end of the day, the end always just if you end up winning the game, the end justifies the means. But because we haven't won, there's always going to be questions.
Yeah, and rightly so as well. We need to talk about Flynn Downes, I think, Glenn, because I'm loving Flynn 2.0, but I feel like it's going to cost us a fortune in fines, the way he's like flying into things at the moment. But it's great to see. And there was that one of those, the through ball, I think, for Shea Charles was just like almost perfect.
Yeah,
that deserves to go. He's flying at the moment.
Yeah, he's playing well. I mean, he's playing as well as he was 2 years ago when we couldn't win a game when he wasn't in the team. Even in that season where, you know, we ended up finishing fourth with a ridiculous number of points, we couldn't win when he wasn't playing. And it's almost that stage again now. I mean, he seems to have rediscovered his aggression for getting about the park and smashing into people, and that's great. I mean, I haven't seen a video of the incident with Connor Cody, but what it looks like to me is that Flynn's leaned into him, which is not the smartest thing to do, and then Cody's thrown himself on the floor, which is a bit of a disgrace for a player of that experience, who always comes across as a decent guy when you hear him speaking in the media. So to chuck himself on the ground like that is a little bit embarrassing. So, but no, I've got no problem with Flynn Downes. I mean, there's been a lot of talk at the start of the season and certainly last season where, you know, people wanted him gone from the club. But I always think if people have shown what they can do and shown that they can do it at a certain level, then, you know, they can always get back to that. That's why we kind of tolerated Adam Armstrong in the Championship after numerous poor seasons at Premier League level. You know, we always thought, he's proved he can do it at this level, so it makes sense to still have him around if he wants to be here. I mean, I don't know how many bookings Flynn is up to now. He's
on 9. So him and Jamesbury are both one away.
Yeah, so Flynn's going to...
That's going to be this week,
3 or 4 more games?
Yeah, up until and including the 37th game of the season. So 4 more games to play. Jamesbury and Flynn Downes get 1 booking. They're out for 2 games. If Taylor Harwood-Bellis gets 2 bookings, out for 2 games as well.
Well, I think Harwood-Bellis should just about be okay. But
I mean, that was a nonsense decision yesterday, wasn't it? That was never even a foul, let alone a booking.
Yeah, I mean, but the referee was a nonsense yesterday. I mean, the Charlton right back committed about 4 fouls in the opening 10 minutes and didn't get a booking, including that one. Which every time I look at it, I'm thinking, is that in the penalty area? The one on
I do wonder whether VAR. I mean, in VAR era, I think that possibly gets upgraded because there's certainly some contact on the line, and on the line is in the area.
Yeah, for me personally, no.
I mean,
is that one where they would have said the tackle carried on into the box? Remember that was the thing
potentially.
It carried on into the box. So.
It was close. I think you're grasping a little bit if you if you're screaming for a penalty from that one.
I think also go on.
No, carry on, mate.
Well, so we've seen in the Arsenal game today with Gabriel's dive that VR doesn't get it right anyway, so there's no guarantees that VR would have responded that. So it's irrelevant.
No. Right.
But we're still unbeaten in 7, though, right? So we've got a lot to be happy about.
Well, it was interesting, actually, that at full time, like, I think certainly over Christmas and probably back in sort of October, November, that result at full time would have been met with a cascade of boos. And yesterday it wasn't. It was like, okay, it's happened. People kind of shrugged their shoulders. They could see that the effort wasn't lacking there. Yeah. The way we were absolutely camped around their penalty area for the 10 minutes of injury time, and also fair play to the referee for going double digits on
that was
the
shock.
Injury time there. Because he was absolutely right. And you could even have argued for a couple of more maybe, but I think having been sort of laying siege to them for that 10 minutes of injury time plus probably the 10-15 of normal time before it, it wasn't as if the effort was lacking or we didn't have a clue what we were doing. It was literally just, you've got 11 bodies in the way, you've got to just there is always an element of hit and hope in those sort of scenarios, and the defending team generally, certainly at this level anyway, where you're not blessed with the world's best players who can kind of unlock the sort of key to the defence. Bodies on the line wins you points, and unfortunately for us, that's proven the case today. Yesterday,
disappointing aspect is that obviously the first half you had the Finn Downes one was fairly clear cut. James Brewer at the back post as well. That header was a difficult one, but it's inside the 6-yard box. Other than that, there wasn't really anything particularly clear cut for the entire game, to be honest, and particularly in that sort of last 10-15 minutes. You've said it there, Steve, that obviously the bodies behind the ball was the reason for that. But at no point did I really think they were going to score. I couldn't see where the goal was going to come from with the players that were on the pitch anyway. Yes, we were camped outside the box. Yes, we were flinging balls into defenders, but there was nothing clear cut. No, a lack of inventiveness, just a little bit of a lack of quality, I think.
Well, Matsky needs some longer studs.
Yeah, I think that was a big one, wasn't it? That was the big one.
That's certainly a conclusion because that fell quite nicely. That was in a good position in front of goal. There's still 2 or 3 bodies in the way, but you'd kind of trust an attacking player to find a way through from that position, I think. Yeah. But he just loses his footing from underneath him. Fellows obviously had the one that was at 1-0, wasn't it? Where Fellows kind of got the ball from Cienza after that brilliant throw from Perez, where he's launched it 60, 70 yards. And Cienza's run around the back of him and he set Fellows up. Fellows just needs to hit that first time.
He should have hit it first time, shouldn't he?
That's another one of those things which illustrates the lack of confidence that he's got in himself because he knows that he's not scored for us yet.
He's not a goal scorer, is he? That's for sure.
No, but the times where he's come close they were bad misses. They were opportunities where you would expect someone of his quality to hit the target. It's not like he's never scored before. He scored a fair few for West Brom. I think he got 5 last season. So it's not like he doesn't know where the back of the net is. Just going through an absolute brain fade at the moment in front of goal.
Interestingly, on that chance, the only reason Cienza had to pass it to Fellows in the first place is because he took a poor first touch, which is really unlike him. He took a poor first touch and ended up going slightly wider left. If he'd taken it on an angle, running towards the penalty spot, he wouldn't have needed to pass it and he could have hit the shot himself. But once the ball goes to Fellows, he absolutely has to hit it first time. And he's never been shy of putting his foot through it, and that's been half the problem because he tends to hit it at the moon. But as soon as it came across and he took the touch, I think a defender falls down in front of him. The chance is gone, and disappointing. And then Tonda made a substitution, and that was the last sort of chance we had.
Rinse and repeat. The rest is history. Let's do Player of the Week. Who were the standout performers for us all? Who who's the top performer, Alfie?
Well, I'll stick obviously Ross Stewart down just purely on the basis that he scored, because I can make a maybe reasonably interesting point. Obviously, we spoke last week about his contract expiring in the summer.
Yeah.
We know that they have a clause,
It's an option, isn't it?
Yeah, an option to extend it by a year. From what I'm told, that it's not clear cut that they do that. There is also the option that they give him a 2-year deal, but on less money to try and sort of pay off. So he gets the long-term security, but we don't have to pay him whatever it is on now for the next season.
The Jack Stevens contract, if you like.
Possibly. So that's something that might happen. Just that's one to watch, I think, this year, just to see what they do. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Where would you land there? I mean, obviously, he's played 8 games in a row now. Obviously, they're managing him well. He doesn't go past 70th minute. This was his longest stint, I think, so far. I guess it does it all come down to wait until the end of the year for you?
It seems sensible. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what everyone thinks in the comments, but it seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me, Glenn.
I'd extend it a year. To be
just
honest,
a year.
I'd extend it a year and put the onus on Ross to stay fit, basically.
Kick the can down the road a little bit.
Yeah, kick the can down the road, and then you see where you are. And if he stays fit for the rest of this season, he starts next season fit. He gets through to sort of September, October time, still fit. Then you look at, maybe a 2-year.
And then he goes, "Well, I want the big money now because you made me wait."
Yeah, maybe so. But Saints have been burnt too many times by extending players who then barely play, and it's. You have to make you have to on some level make a business decision, even though the centre forward who scores goals and is good in the air, good on the ground, that's a bit of a godsend for any team. You can't be silly about it and go, okay, Ross, we'll give you a 4-year deal now. We'll give you a 4-year deal until you're 33, and then
clearly it would be a financially sensible decision in terms of the liability would be less now, because although it's longer term, you'll be paying him less each week. Obviously, that would be the trade-off. But his record in the Championship, by the way, he's I saw this stat on Twitter. He's got the second best goals per minutes ratio in the Championship history. Obviously, yes, all right, so he played 40 games.
Behind Mitrovic, presumably.
Behind someone else, actually. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's not Mitrovic. It's I'll try and think of it. But yeah, but he only played 40 games.
Like Guy Whittingham, when he got 42 goals back in the 90s or something stupid.
In one season or something, possibly. But
I mean, the other thing you have to. I think we mentioned this last week. If you don't keep him on, you've got to buy someone else.
Yeah,
and then
Armstrong's gone, and
then we'd arrive at the end of the season with it. If he doesn't sign up, he'll be here next year, won't he? I mean, I'll take the 1-year option regardless. So, Carl Larin will go back, and that remains to be seen whether you pursue that one, or you have to go and find someone else, and then you're in the territory of the
Damien Downes.
Maybe we get another Damien Downes, Ben Burton, Diaz, Cameron Archer thing, where we basically spent however many millions of pounds on probably the best thick end of 30 million on those three, and they're not doing very much at all, and haven't done very much at all. So with Ross, as we said, the key is, does he stay fit? And if he stays fit, then he will be a valuable asset on the pitch. And you just got to hope the financials add up.
We've got to get to the point where Stewart can do in 90 minutes.
Yeah, good point.
Because having this scenario where, regardless of the game situation, he's having to come off with 20 minutes to go, when he's the guy you want on the end of those crosses in the 94th minute. When it's the Alamo, you're just lumping balls into the box from corners, and Jack Stevens and Taylor Harwood-Bellis are your two rear, and Larin to an extent are your only options. You want Stewart, who can not only win the header but also direct it. He knows exactly what the dimensions of the goal are, and kind of how to, because you don't always need to just welly it. If you've got a bit of finesse, as he showed with the goal yesterday. I mean, the posts don't move. So if you've got your positioning right, and the pace and the direction is good, then that's worth so much. And so I think if you've got him into a situation where he can do 90 on a semi-regular basis, then great. If we're still reliant on him being able to do 60 to 70, and then we have somebody else, then I think there's a different conversation to be had, because is that a good use of resources? in our position.
Well, when he's scoring one every 130 minutes, that's still a goal every other game.
Yeah.
Odion Ighalo, Steve. Odion Ighalo is the fastest scorer in Championship history.
I think Tuesday be interesting, won't it? We'll find out a lot about his fitness and perhaps where he's at on Tuesday, which we'll get onto in just a moment. So we've got Ross Stewart down for Player of the Week. Anybody else? I guess Flynn Downes, maybe?
For me, I'd say Flynn Downes or Shay Charles. I thought Shay Charles was really good for the hour that he was on the pitch.
We noticed when he went off, didn't we?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, what I like about Shay Charles is the way he kind of glides across the pitch when he runs forward. He's really smooth. You can tell there's a sort of quality athlete in there, and I do think he will cement a place in the side once he gets given a few games. To me, he looks fit enough. And like I said, I just find it really annoying that he got taken off at that particular time, which was, I mean, it's not the same as Ross Stewart. I know he did have a reoccurrence of this hamstring injury, but he's been recovered for quite a while now, and he's had to sit out.
He's been fit for 6 weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had to sit out because Yander and Downes have been playing well, but now Yander's dropped off a bit, so he's now in the side. I don't see any reason why he can't play 90 minutes, really. So, unless there's something we don't know about. So, I just love to see an end to these preconceived substitutions, which just don't take any account of the game situation. He basically took off one of our best players in a key area of the pitch. And for me, the inexperienced manager that we've got went a long way to costing us 2 points yesterday. But so I'll say Shay Charles just out of spite, really.
I've got his minutes here, Steve, Glenn. He didn't play in the cup game at all. Obviously, he was given a complete rest in the cup game. But in the last 6 games since he's come back, 12 minutes, 25 minutes, 16 minutes, 52 minutes, 45 minutes, 65 minutes. It was his longest stint, but he hasn't played a lot of football at all. So it is interesting. Yeah, it's a weird one. Maybe we'll ask about that when we speak to Tonda this week.
It's the spreadsheet, isn't it? It's the spreadsheet. Anything else on Charlton before we move on?
Just Nathan Jones. I'll just talk about Nathan Jones again for a bit. We all know he's a feisty SOB, isn't he? And I just think I think we got to let him have this one. To be honest, he got a decent result.
It doesn't feel like it was kind of as designed though, because I think
you're doing him a disservice there. At the end of the day, you talk about all our chances being shots blocked and stuff, but that was the game plan. We had a couple of chances inside the box, but really it was maybe 4 or 5 shots in the box. The rest of it was from range, and it was hopeful efforts, and we didn't get a clear-cut chance apart from
surely if you were this defensive sort of mastermind that he portrays himself as, you would find a way to stop us having any shots. You would just shut us out completely. Shut the game down. Find a way to stop us getting through the middle or around the back. And
we know he's
them loads of times in the first half.
Yeah, but we know he's not a tactical masterclass.
We know he's not. That doesn't mean he doesn't.
We know he's not. We know he's not brilliant, and we know he's going to come out with rubbish in his press conferences. We saw it in the games that he managed us. He's going to come out with rubbish, but I think we have to kind of accept it from yesterday, because at the end of the day, he got a result which, I mean, he would have killed for a draw before the game. And they set up for 0-0.
Yeah.
But once we scored and 0-0 was off the table, it's our fault that we didn't, and that we didn't win the game. And he won the battle of the managers in that second half, because he threw on that second striker as well. That's another thing we haven't talked about. He threw on that Carl Leaburn, not Carl Leaburn, that was his dad. Miles Leaburn. He threw him on, and to be honest, he created a bit of a problem for us, and they might have even nicked it, which would have been horrific.
Yeah.
But he made positive changes in that second half to try and get back into the game, and it came off for him, and we just didn't do that. So annoying though he is and will always be, I have to say that fair play to him for yesterday. He got what he came for.
Begrudgingly, yeah. Well, we won't have to talk about him for the rest of the season, so that's good.
No.
We can draw a line under it and move on. Right, we'll chat about Tuesday night in just a moment. Obviously, yesterday as well was one of the days that they gave over to the Saints Foundation. So they did all the fundraising yesterday. That was on the front of the shirts. I know they'll be auctioning those off. There's loads of prizes as well. The other big thing that's happening for the Saints Foundation is Benali on tour. How's the training going, Alfie?
I went to St. Catherine's Hill today. Did a couple of laps of that. Yeah. So I've done a bit.
It's hard work, isn't it?
Do you know what? How hard can walking be? I'm sure we'll clip this at the time, but I just
think a t-shirt.
I walked for like an hour and a half, and I just thought I could do this for 15 hours. This is going to be easy. Let's see how we go.
If you haven't,
narrator, his legs fell off.
We'll play this clip when you're being airlifted off the mountain.
We're doing Benali on tour this year. 3 of us are doing it. So we're doing the 10 Lake District Summits. It's the final weekend of the season, raising money for the Saints Foundation. We've had a few people sponsor us already today and a few more during the week. So if you have sent us a little bit of money, thank you so much. Anything you can donate will be massively appreciated. We're trying to raise £2,250 as a team. I think we put the link in the description and in the YouTube comments as well tonight. So look out for that. We'll be sharing that on our social media. And if you see us out walking, then you'll know why. Now, it is a 3-game week. The second of those comes on Tuesday evening. It's QPR. I think when I checked, 11 on points, but they're just below us on goal difference. They've kept a clean sheet in their last 3 away matches, Steve. So this could be another.
Apart from yesterday, where they won 3-1 at Hull.
That was right. Yeah.
But yes,
they're doing all right though, aren't they? And this is a game now that we need to go and get something out of this if we're going to.
I mean, they're a solid championship outfit, and in a year where the championship's quality is frankly not very high, that's all you need to be a playoff contender this season. As we've seen from a lot of the sides we've played, there's teams that have got a couple of players that can raise their level to kind of a top end of this division. Players like Ilias Chair that they've got, who's a brilliant player when he's on his game, causes basically every team in this division problems when he's fit and firing. But I mean, as you mentioned, the clean sheet record defensively, they look a lot more solid recently. Can't think what could have possibly have prompted that. But we sit here, as you say, level on points, but above them on goal difference, I think slightly. But defensively they're strong. Don't give too much away, but they're not hugely creative at the other end. But if you kind of let the game open up for them, then they do seem to be quite sort of clinical in terms of punishing teams. We got away with one, didn't we, up at Loftus Road, where they basically did what we did to Charlton yesterday, and also failed to find the back of the net in those last 10-20 minutes or so. But I wouldn't expect us to have it all our own way on Tuesday, that's for sure.
Where are we looking at in terms of injuries, Alfie? Obviously, Wellington's still going to be missing. That was the big news from this week, isn't it? He's going to be out for a couple of weeks by the sounds of it.
Yeah, Wellington out for a couple of weeks. So Ryan Manning will have to go again. Obviously, Mads Roslev's had his surgery now. It's gone well, but he's out for the rest of the season. Let's see what he can do next year. I don't think there's anything else off the top of my head. Obviously, Ross Stewart will be one to watch. Does Matsky come in, potentially? Other than that, I can't think of too many other real enforced changes, unless I'm being stupid. But, I mean, QPR are a weird team to predict, impossible to predict.
Don't know what you're going to get, do you?
You don't know what you're going to get. They've only won 3 games in the league since January, since the start of the year. But 2 of those were obviously Hull yesterday, who were up there, and they beat Coventry. The other one was Sheffield Wednesday. So the 2 absolute extremes in terms of victories. They've had 0-0 draws. They've had 3-2 losses, obviously 3-1 wins. You just don't know what
they lost to Wrexham when they were 2-1 up in the 94th minute, didn't they?
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, you know what you're going to get with them. Obviously, player that I felt caused a lot of problems at Loftus Road was Ruman Burrell. He missed all the big chances. He could have won them the game. He missed the big ones, but he has got 10 goals from this season. He's been out since maybe mid-January. He's out injured until March, so he won't be playing. So maybe they're missing him a little bit as well. But yeah, very odd team. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to get from them, but I think that makes them dangerous. Especially on a nighttime game. You don't know what you're going to get, so we've got to be careful. Ronnie, it'd be interesting to see Ronnie Edwards. I'm intrigued to see how he gets on in his sort of natural environment where he feels comfortable and is given that trust to play 90 minutes. Let's see how he gets on at St Mary's, because although he had all the talent in the world, he never really did it for Saints. Obviously, that's the reason they got rid of him.
And of course, it wasn't alone either, was it? So he will play on Tuesday. So
absolutely.
One point I would make about QPR is their fan base have been a little bit critical of the manager Julian Stefan when they've had these 3-game weeks, because he's been very much got a spreadsheet. Effectively managing by spreadsheet for these 3-game weeks, whereby he'll make, like, even if they've gone and won a really good game on the Saturday, he'll make 5 changes for the Tuesday to keep things fresh. So I wouldn't necessarily expect the side that won at Hull on Saturday lunchtime to necessarily be the one that starts at St Mary's on Tuesday. So maybe that's possibly an angle that we might look to attack if they're a little bit lighter than their full strength 11, then maybe that's something that we can get out early on.
You kind of feel that Honda's big spreadsheet's going to be in full force on Tuesday. You don't really know what we're going to expect necessarily.
No, but I agree with what Alfie said. I really don't see that. Bearing in mind the game coming up after that is Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. This is the more difficult out of the 2 games. So we should be as strong as possible. I mean, what the manager should do in this scenario is concentrate on the game that we've got in front of us, because that's the more difficult one of the 2. And then if anyone's feeling it a little bit, then you start Carl Larin ahead of Ross Stewart on against Sheffield Wednesday, and you should be able to get that game done. If you need to rest a couple. So. But yeah, I think there's some interesting questions about, certainly Matsky, does he come in? I wouldn't anticipate there being sort of like too many changes other than that. Back 4 picks itself. Keeper obviously is going to be the same. Flynn Downes will be in midfield, probably with Shay Charles. He may give Finn Azaz a rest, may give Tom Fellows a rest. So, there may be chances for Edozie, Matsuki to come in.
I can't imagine we're going to see Cameron Archer, are we?
Differently every time I say it. No, not Cameron Archer. No.
But,
one thing we do have to do is that, we have to try and bully Ronnie Edwards out of his game, because that's, we saw it
what Keith Moore did to him in August.
Absolutely.
Basically.
So if Ross Stewart is up against him, he's got, whoever the other centre half is, he's got to leave him alone. He's got to peel off and play against Edwards, and really try and knock him around. And that's, that's just, knowing the player. I mean, if we don't do that, then we're not doing our job properly. Yeah. We have to knock him around and try and put him off his game, not give him anything. He's not going to win anything in the air against Stewart or against Larin. If if we get the crosses into the box and get the deliveries right. So we absolutely have to target that. But I had that point about their manager who tends to rock and roll with his team selections between games that are only 3 days apart. I think he did that the last time we played them. I think there was a lot of
changes.
There was a lot of criticism of him after that game because, of course, we managed to win it. But so, I do anticipate him doing the same thing. But we have to win this game. The Charlton game has made the Charlton result has made this one much more. There's much less margin for error now. And even though it's 4 points from the top 6, you need to at some point get up there by winning 2 or 3 games in a row. So and that's the position that we find ourselves in as a result of the points we dropped yesterday. So so bully Ronnie Edwards about, and hopefully that'll be a part of the job done.
Well, I'll talk about the sort of midweek rotation for QPR. I didn't know about that, so it's an interesting point. But what I can say is that QPR, they're unbeaten in the last 4 midweek away games. They've won 3 of them. So it hasn't seemed to affect them if it is the case. A lot of talk also about maybe dropping Finn Azaz for Matsky. If I was going to bring Matsky in, that's in the comments. If I was to bring Matsky in, it'd be for Tom Fellows. It wouldn't be dropping Finn Azaz. No. He's set up a goal in all of his last 3 games against QPR. But not only that, he has got the ability to do it. And I agree with Glenn. If he's still off the boil at 55 minutes and he hasn't had a good game, bring him off then. But I would definitely be starting with Finn Azaz. He's got the quality to unlock him. Just let's see if he can produce it.
It's going to be a tough one to predict, isn't it, Tuesday? I think we'll do a pod on Wednesday night to look back over the result of that one and look ahead to Sheffield Wednesday at the weekend. So look out for that, probably 7 o'clock on Wednesday night for that one.
Well, another good point, mine. I mean, in the comments, if you look at the teams who are playing each other this week, obviously we've got QPR, which is a close run, but Sheffield Wednesday the weekend. Over the next 2 match days, I think there's 4 or 5 other games going on between teams, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Although we're disappointed about what happened on the weekend, put 6 points on the board this week, and the table could look really different again. We could be in the top 6. It could be any number of scores on there. So there'll be a lot of I'll be watching scores come in and across the league as we play.
It does feel like it's harder to predict than the Six Nations at the moment. But like everybody beating everybody else, it's all just a little bit bonkers right now. In terms of our predictions, last time out we had almost 100 entries in the league. 6 of you went for the draw, 4 of whom got the 1-1 right. So well done if you got that right. I think I read that we've won our last 5 games against QPR, so we've got a fairly decent record. But we'll be scratching around for some predictions. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think there will be midweek games. Just, I mean, especially when obviously being London-based, you're kind of having to travel with the sort of alongside the away fans, as was also the case yesterday, along with the engineering works that Southwestern Railway. Southwestern Railway made a right pig's ear of that. We were in Eastleigh for an hour, and no bus turned up, so I just got on the Blue Star one instead. It was just such a mess. I will be claiming delay repay for that. But yeah, I think QPR, they'll come here with confidence, but I think our lads will have it in them that their mindset will be right. We put them to the sword what we didn't do yesterday. I think there will be that sort of determination to put things right. I think we looked okay. I thought as a kind of collective, there wasn't any kind of collective sort of dropping of heads or people getting worked up about anything. As I said, the reaction at full time from the fan base was fine. It wasn't like boos ringing around everywhere and everyone getting angry. So I think, we go again. And I think if we make a fast start, then you can kind of manage the game how you like. And then you can get yourself into a position where actually making a couple of substitutions isn't going to harm things. It's going to freshen things. But I do still think it'll be close. 2-1 win.
Okay. There's a lot of 2-1s and 2-alls in the comments tonight. Alfie?
Yeah, I had the 2-1 as well. Just on the basis that it's obviously difficult to predict, but a comment that was made to me by someone quite high up at Saints the other day was that there seems to be obviously we know the dressing room is improving, the atmosphere, we can see it, we're not blind, but someone made a comment that there's actually some of the younger lads are now sort of stepping up. There's new characters, new leaders that are now starting to emerge. Whether that's to do with the work that was done in the window or not, who knows? But there's something that we've been talking about all for a long time. Have we got enough leaders? Have we got enough characters? And by the sounds of it, people are stepping in now. Obviously, it's easy to say that when you've just gone on 5-6 games unbeaten. But I'm hoping that they're right and that we're going to see a reaction. And I backed on the record, although he may have made mistakes in game on the weekend, as he will do going forward, I'm sure. I back him to get them going again and to get them focused again. So yeah, I'll go for a 2-1 win, an important one.
2-1, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean QPR. I saw last 6 games, 1-2, drawn 2, lost 2. Yeah. So to me, they're the very definition of a mid-table side who are not going to go down, and they're probably not going to bother the playoffs either because of the sort of lack of firepower that Steve alluded to earlier. So we'll probably get beat 4-0. But now I've said that.
No.
But no, I'm quite confident that we'll get it right. Mind you, I was very confident of beating Charlton. So
we all were, though. We all
were.
I mean, my predictions are crap anyway. So I'd have had 3-0 against Charlton, but there you go. So I'll go for us putting things right. Players on their social media have been kind of saying the right things, which is obviously easy to do. But at least they're sort of like appreciating that that wasn't a great result on Saturday, and they will be looking to put it right on Tuesday. So I will back them to do that, and I'll go for what should we say? Let's go for a 3-1 win.
3-1 win. Right. Okay. If you want to stick your predictions in the comments, you're more than welcome. If you want to play along in our predictions league, you just need your Patreon login, and you can find the leaderboard and how to play on the website. Just head to totalsaints.co.uk. Other bits before we finish. Have we talked about the fine for the Pompey game? I don't know if we.
There'll be another one in the post from yesterday, I would imagine.
So it was 50 grand. That was during the week, I think, wasn't it? And am I right? I'm thinking it was more because it was our second offence.
Yeah, which I think personally is ridiculous because the first offence was obviously the Coventry one, and
Frank Lampard started it.
Yeah, that was incited by Frank Lampard by an opposition member of staff. So I think it's unfair to give a 50k fine for that. And also, it's not bollocks in the first place. It's a derby game. It didn't get that out of hand.
No.
There was a bit of handbags, all right, but it's a derby game. No one got sent off. Nobody had to be escorted away. Just move on. It's football.
Sorry, 2,700 of us got escorted away. Thank you very much.
Yeah, fair enough. Fine, yeah. But it's football, isn't it? Just get over it. So I think the FA
mass confrontation, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, the FA it's overreaching now. Nanny state rubbish. That's what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, who's going to blame anyone else for it kicking off at Fratton Park other than just being at Fratton Park? I mean, it's that is the nature of the beast down there. If you go down there in a red and white shirt, so yeah, I think it's absurd. But it's like bloody traffic fines where they're obviously just collecting money, and that seems to be that's exactly what they're doing. And for us getting fined for Frank Lampard being a dickhead is crazy in the first place, and for it to count towards a second fine being doubled, then Whereas meanwhile, we're talking about Pompey, the game after us, that you had a fourth official getting hit by a coin, and a member of the opposition, he was at a mascot or something, got hit with something as well. But did they get a second fine for that? It just seems very arbitrary.
It might be in the post, to be fair. It might be on the way.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it just seems strange that we've managed to get two of these. But at least we'll finish top of that table.
Well, it obviously follows on from 2 years ago, getting the big one as well for the playoff pitch encroachment, didn't it? That worried Saints in the end because we got like £125,000 or something. It might have got commuted down a little bit, but I wonder if the FA have got their number a little bit now. They know that there's cash coming.
We've got history. FA Cup as well. Fulham away. That was all a bit nah.
Yeah. Not a single
Sunday
FA Cup fifth round. Yeah, not a single 3 p.m. kickoff in the FA Cup fifth round. I mean, I'll give them it's an improvement on last season, which I think was the fifth round was all midweek. So it's an improvement, but not a single 3 p.m. kickoff. I sound like an old man shouting clouds again, but it's just ridiculous. But there we go.
Right, Abe.
So we've got Sunday midday.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That's terrific.
I mean, it's interesting that Fulham have given us, what was it, 4,600 tickets, I think. That Putney end holds just over 5,000. So are they still retaining like half of one block for home fans? If they are, that's mental. Just give us the whole end. It's weird, really, really weird. But I fully expect us to sell that out. Fulham away is always a popular one, and when you've got a big allocation, I mean, you'll get. I think like the starting qualifications 8 aways, I think, over the last season and a half. So a lot of people will qualify for that, and I would expect those to sell pretty quickly tomorrow morning.
He's supposed to get 20 or 25% for FA Cup.
15.
15. Yeah,
15. So I was wrong. So it's 15%. So it's 4,500 exactly 15%.
Basically, yeah.
So yeah, but you would think with the segregation.
Yeah,
obviously
I mean,
being
you could cut down on costs and also make sure you get the revenue, because I'm not convinced Fulham will sell that game out. How much interest is there going to be in the Fulham fan base to watch a game against Saints, which is likely to be both teams making changes again?
Yeah, on a Sunday lunchtime. Did you say
Well,
tomorrow morning?
It does.
Tomorrow morning on sale, yeah.
It makes it
I
4
think it's
away
a
games in a
good
row for
chance.
Saints, interestingly. So we've got the QPR game on Tuesday, but then we go to Sheffield Wednesday, Fulham, West Brom, and Coventry back to back in the space of 3 weeks. So a lot of travelling. I think on one of those games,
really good chance that draw to get through. I think we've done enough in the FA Cup this year. With it being the 50th year and the stupidly expensive kit launch and all that, to get through to the fifth round is decent.
Yeah,
but I think there's a chance to get through.
Prize money is not insignificant once you get to this stage either. It's like quarter of a million quid, I think, for getting through this.
That's good. We can kick off a few more times.
All thinking the same.
It's a good opportunity to get through. And
you win at Fulham, you're 1 win away from going to Wembley for the semi-finals.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Or maybe Mansfield beat Arsenal and then you play them in the quarters.
We can dream. We can dream.
Probably got a
Anything
better
else before
chance
we
than
wrap
Spurs. Jesus.
Ouchie. Anything else, chaps?
no.
Just that we got to get out of this division, otherwise we'll be playing Spurs next year. I watched them. Oh God,
it was terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it could have been. Well, it should have been 10. If Arsenal wanted to score 10, they could have scored 10. But
Well, again, it should have been 2-2 at one point as well. So, that's it.
Nice one. Right, thank you. We will go again on Wednesday night, then at 7 to talk about the QPR game and look ahead to the Wednesday game at the weekend. Thanks for joining us tonight. You can follow Total Saints Podcast on all the social media platforms. Check out the merch store as well. It's shop.totalsaints.co.uk. I mentioned right at the start, we're also on Patreon. That's where you can support the podcast with your monthly contributions. It's patreon.com/Total Saints Podcast. And each of the tiers comes with some different perks, including shout outs for patrons in the Francis Benali and the Mick Shannon tiers. So thank you to Dave Melton, Andy Hollis, Anthony Thompson, Gavin Ford, James Harron, Nicky Nicholson, Peter Montalabo, Southampton NY, Drew Dyer, James Kibbe, Red 76 Tax, Michael Blackmer, David Mansell, Nick Gardner, John Collison, Voice FM, Andrew Steele, and James Ravencroft. They're in our Francis Benali tier. And also thanks to Nick Reed, Dave Ernsberger, Nick Hingston, Phil Cook, Jonathan Cooper, Colt Baker, Anthony Thompson, Matt Hall, Mike Etheridge, Phil Horstrup, Mark Littlewood, James Bobin, John Bevan, Frank Thorpe, John Peacock, and it's Andy Pickles who are in our Mick Shannon tier. Thanks as well to Paul Castle Associates and Steamtown Brewery for sponsoring TSP this season. Thanks to Steve. Thank you to Alfie, and thank you to Glenn. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will see you on Wednesday night at 7. Enjoy the game.